So let's quickly review some of the resources that are on the English 7-8 Research Resource page. So we have Gale in Context, which we looked at in the last video. It has a wide variety of different types of sources, videos, magazines, newspapers, radio shows on lots of different topics. We also have Opposing Viewpoints, which are resources gathered on controversial topics with a focus on multiple perspectives, and InfoTrack News, which is a database with many local, national papers. So let's take a quick look at Opposing Viewpoints. And remember, if you are prompted for a login, you do not need a login, and there's a video on the library's website that we were just on that shows you how to get around that. And when you search a database, it's a little bit different than searching Google, because when you search a database, it will search every single word that you put into the search field. So for instance, let's say that I am looking at, I want to research remote education and how it impacts students' emotional health. If I were to type in, I want to research remote education and students' emotional health, I'm not going to get anything because the database only returns results that have every single one of those words in it. So Google has invested a tremendous amount of research into trying to figure out what we're actually looking for when we type things into the search field. Databases do not have that functionality, so you want to try to use as few words as possible. So let's see what happens if I just type in education. Now you'll notice that as soon as I start typing in education, it gives me some suggested topics. Now, if I pick one of these topics, maybe online education, that might be a good one for me to start with. With any of these topics, it has a landing page, just like we looked at in the last Gale database. And there's all of these different types of sources again. So again, you could get all of your sources from one database because the database is not the source. The database is the means to acquire the source. It's just the search engine, except you won't run into paywalls. So here's an article right here that might work for my project, How to Make Online Schooling Work. Online schooling is a disability rights issue. So I'm finding lots of articles that could be relevant to my paper, and I found those by using fewer words. Another thing that the database will not correct for it is a spelling error. So if you put your search term in and you're finding that you're not getting any results, double check your spelling. Because it's easy to have a typo, it's easy to misspell a word, but if you do, you won't get any results from the database. Okay, so going back to the resource page, I think a great resource, depending on your project, could be Ethnic News Watch. Now, Ethnic News Watch is a Multnomah County Library database, but it is a database specifically focusing on newspapers and magazines operated by people of color across the United States. So if you are researching a project that has a specific impact on people of color, I think that it's definitely worth looking at Ethnic News Watch because then you can find out more about the group that you're looking at and what they are publishing about the issue that you're researching. There's also some academic and peer-reviewed journal articles. One is Academic OneFile, and another one is JSTOR, and for both of those, you are required to have a Multnomah County Library card. Now, towards the bottom of the page, I put a link towards the Annotated Bibliography Graphic Organizer, the Raven slide deck, and then the video that shows you how to get into OSLIS without a login when you're at home. And feel free to email me if you have any questions or if you have trouble finding sources for your topic.